I'm Melissa.
And I'm Mike.
Welcome back to the A&M podcast. Welcome back to Tuesday.
The regular edition.
Regular edition, yeah.
Not the true crime edition or the
I
Marvel edition, just the regular edition.
Yeah,
the
I feel
OG.
OG. Gang. I feel like every time I have these glasses on, we're about to like spit some facts. I'm about to read some facts, talk about some.
Wow. Sounds like you did show prep for today, and I was just gonna kind of go off the cuff.
Listen, the whole part about having a partner when you do a podcast is that when I don't feel like doing research, I don't do it, and you're usually knowledgeable in some fashion, whether it's research or just your own cabeza.
Yeah.
And when you don't do research, sometimes I got your back,
Fair enough. And I appreciate you.
Yes, back at you. So, with Mother's Day right around the corner, a parent holiday, why not talk about, I thought it would be just interesting just to talk about like parenting and relationships and stuff like that. I feel like you're pretty knowledgeable in relationships and parenting.
Wow, that's nice of you to say.
Of course.
It's
also true.
It's mostly because of just longevity, not actual, like I'm
Knowledge.
I'm that guy at the job that's been there for 50 years, but nobody knows how. He's been there for 50 years. That's the same
so
thing
funny.
with me as a parent. I've just, somehow survived.
Have you seen that one? There was one time when like there was this guy, I don't remember who it was or whatever, but it was a few years ago, I think. And he was like one of those like relationship experts or whatever on social media. And then it came out that I think it was like that he cheated on his wife or something like that.
God.
Always funny when that happens.
Don't be giving advice if, yeah.
He's like, listen, just listen to what I say. Don't follow my lead, okay?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, exactly.
Do as I say, not as I do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so I was looking up some I just I thought it was interesting because I was thinking about well, I mean, obviously like I'm around children a lot. So like that's also like funny to me just because it always like I don't know what it is about being around like kids, but it definitely makes me think about like me when I was younger. And there's so many times when like if there's like any type of like sass or attitude or like comeback or like anything like that, I'm always like, was I like that as a like insert age here year old? And like in my head, I don't know, maybe it's just me being Delulu, but I'm like, I feel like I was an angel. Like I don't think I talked back until I got older.
Until you got older, yeah. Yeah, probably. I honestly don't remember any of you guys being very lippy.
Thing. There we go.
Yeah.
I think it was because I was also like very scared of mom. I didn't want to get in trouble. And I was also like a very shy girl. So even when I think of like, the kids will like come home and like talk about like certain bullies at school or whatever, because there are still bullies at school. Bullying is still a thing, like to an extent. Yeah. And I'm always like, yeah, like I wasn't really bullied ever either, but I think it was really just because I was so shy and kept to myself that even probably if somebody was like bullying, like I guess they were never like directly bullying me. They could have bullied me behind my back and I would never have known, and I kind of prefer it that way. But I do remember this one time when I forget what grade I was in. I think it was like second or third grade, because I'm pretty sure it was right after we moved back to Pennsylvania from Florida. And I had allergies when I was younger. I still do. And I was in class and I was like breathing out of my mouth because my nose was stuffy. And they were bullying me for being a mouth breather. And I remember just being like,
kids are really the worst. Some kids are really the worst. They really are. Like,
they literally called me mouth breather.
Sorry that I'm breathing.
And I remember being
it's annoying
like that. Yeah, I remember being like that. Like, that's just literally how my nose is stuffy. I can't really get out of my nose, so I'm breathing. I'm going with the next best option, my mouth.
Yeah. I mean,
And
What
like
the
I
heck?
remember they kind of like didn't like bother me after that because I did give like such a, and it's funny because like that's what I always tell the kids, like if somebody ever picks on you, like I don't know, just like don't even like act like it, even if it bothers you, like come and like we can talk about it later and
Yeah,
like make fun of them together, but like you need to act so unbothered because the biggest thing that a bully is trying to do to you right now is like get on your nerves. They're trying to like get on
exactly.
you and they're going to keep doing it like if, I don't know.
Exactly.
Uh,
I just have to pause 1 second. It's gonna look to people watching this like Goofy is extremely interested in whatever you're saying
the way
on
he's
your end.
peeking around your shoulder is
Yeah,
hilarious. It
yeah.
is funny.
Goofy, mind your own
He's
business.
like, yeah, he's coming out from the behind you. That's so
Yeah,
crazy.
that's
You
funny.
planned that.
I did not notice that, but
That is
I'll
really
take it.
funny.
I'll take it. Yeah. Yeah, the bullying thing is funny because you're right. Like it hasn't gone away, right? Even though there's
Hmm.
been so much focus on it, or I feel like a couple of years back there was a lot of focus on it, and then it kind of went away. Um,
I think it's
because I don't
worse
feel
now
like
because
it's
kids do it
yeah.
online.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't think it's definitely not any better than it was,
Hmm.
say, when I was a kid or the generation before me were kids. Like it's a thing, and I mean, sadly, either like you figure out how to get through it. People who go, are bullied, or I don't know, you know, the I feel like the bullies at some point, like maybe regret it. You know, they think back and they're like, why'd I do that? That was, or they just grow up that way and they're, you know, that guy who's, I don't know, overly aggressive on the highway that he's like passing you or something. I don't know. I don't know. But,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, the other thing that with you, you talking about like, kind of how we were as parents and that, I feel
Hmm.
like we were, like, how can I say it? Like my generation growing up, like our parents were strict with us. We were the kids who, you had to be home by the time the street lights came on, and when you did things wrong, you got punished. You didn't get time out. You got sent to your room, and you were in your room, for the day, or you got grounded and you weren't allowed to go with your friends for, could be a week, like that kind of thing. And yeah, occasionally, you know what, we got smacked on the butt because we did something we shouldn't have done. And I think it made us better for it because it built discipline. And I'm not talking about parents who abuse their kids. I'm not talking about that. That's not cool.
See,
That's bad.
like I've realized that a lot of times though, like, I don't really think of it as like gentle parenting because I think it's like it definitely is like a stern conversation.
Right.
But I've realized that like or noticed that like kids definitely respond better to like a conversation, a stern one,
Right.
but like way more than just like a whooping or like getting
Yeah.
screamed at or something like
Well,
that because
see,
I think like it triggers like when you're getting yelled at like it's kind of like you aren't even really you did bad but you're not really like understanding like what you did and why it's bad,
right.
whereas I feel like when they're doing something bad if you're just like because most of the time like they do know that they did something bad like
Right.
all
Right.
and already, so I think if you kind of like, why did you do that? Okay,
Yeah.
like so, like
I
for
mean, I
real, why
think it
did
depends
you?
on the age of the kid too. Though I think like a kid who's under a
True.
certain age, you can't reason with them, because they don't have that ability yet. So
Mhm.
when they're doing something that is potentially endangering them, putting them in danger, sometimes to get their attention. I'm not talking about abusing children, but I'm talking about like the little pat on the butt to get their attention so they know that you're
Mhm.
serious is a good thing. I will say I've seen the way like I don't want to get specific like I'm targeting someone, but it's a good thing that I'm going to say, so I should. Um, I've seen the way like Adrian is sometimes with like the kids, and I think
Mhm.
he's great the way he reasons with them. I think that is absolutely great. He talks to them
Mhm.
like little human beings, and he
Right.
explains to them that, but you can't do that because, and that's great. Now
Mhm.
that's 100% the way it should be.
Yeah.
When I talk about gentle parenting, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
No,
the
no,
kids
sweetie.
totally out of control, and they're going, we don't do that. We don't do that. And the kid continues to do it.
Kid is sitting there like
Those are the
hanging
kids
on
that,
their hair.
yeah, yeah. They're like punching their teacher, in the groin, and their parents just going, no, no, no. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about like
Yeah.
the modern day gentle parenting. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's all, in the end, it's about letting them know like what they did
Because there's
isn't
even
okay.
like sometimes, we also like we talk about it all the time where it's like you have that fight with your just in your own head of like, okay, like it's that fine line between like talking back and like, okay, but I am happy that you do feel comfortable enough to like express yourself. Like I do want you to like express how you're feeling. Like, no, how are you feeling right now? Like, oh, okay, you're mad that that happened. Like, okay, I'm glad that you feel comfortable enough to like say how you're feeling because, some kids are too scared of their parent or their guardian or whatever
Right,
that they might not say anything when they're upset and they'll just bottle it up, which I think is like just as detrimental. And so it's like there's times that we'll be like, okay, I'm glad you feel comfortable enough to like do that or say that or express that or whatever,
right,
but don't say it like that because sometimes they also like truly don't even like there's certain moments where I've noticed it'll be like something is said that is like we hear it and we're like that's rude. Like
right,
don't say you don't ask for something by saying like get me a cup of water.
right,
And
right.
they'll in their head it's like, Adrian sometimes will be like try again. Oh, get me a cup of water, please. He's like, erase the whole sentence.
Closer, closer, but try again.
Erase the whole sentence. Like, so let me explain to you. It's the get me that
Right,
you're like
right.
adding that you need to like
Yeah, and
figure out
there's
something
no
else.
ill will or bad intent there. It's
Hmm.
just
Like they
doing it the
genuinely
wrong way.
don't know. And then that's when you realize, like, okay, you are like a younger person. You're a young, growing human that isn't born with, always, I guess, like
Yeah,
that's part of growing up is
it's
you're
yeah,
gonna
it's
learn that you don't ask people for things by saying get me, even if you add a
yeah,
please on the end, even if you add a
yeah,
please, it actually kind of sounds a little worse.
yeah, yeah. Get me
Get me
this,
that please.
please. Because then
Like, oh
it's almost it becomes passive
yeah,
aggressive at the end with the please.
do you want the
Yeah, I think
silver or gold platter this time?
Yeah, I I think I think the thing is too, like when you're a parent, when you're, responsible for like young kids, there's no instruction manual. You know,
Hmm.
you start out going, well, this is what my parents did, and this is what worked with me, I think is part of it too. Um, but so I mean that comes into play, right? You're just trying to figure it out, kind of. I know there are parenting books, and I'm sure they're wonderful, but they're also,
Nobody's
not
got time for that.
not right for not everybody's it's not right for everybody's situation because everybody's situation isn't exactly the same. Um, so it is one of those things that I think you kind of, you have on the job
Learn as you
training.
go. Yeah,
You
yeah,
learn as
yeah.
you go. Yeah.
I think it's
And
also like that's what's funny about like people who don't really like aren't really around kids or anything, and you do hear a lot of the like opinions, and it's kind of like different strokes for
yeah.
different folks, I guess, because
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I mean, even like, we had four of you, different kids in the same
oh yeah,
house, you can
different
have to take
personality
different
traits
approaches with too. You
for
know what I mean?
sure.
Just
Yeah,
based
yeah, yeah.
on their personality,
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like
So
I also
yeah.
heard something that
Yeah.
I saw something that said how millennials are like the most unserious parent generation. which is really funny because sometimes like there are moments that like even when I'm with the kids that I'm like I don't want to do that. I don't want to go ask for that. Like you go ask for it. I don't want to do that. Like even Adrian, like I
Yeah,
forget what it was. He
yeah,
was I think he
yeah,
had to make an appointment for one of the kids or whatever. And he was just like like we were talking about how like the millennials are so unserious as parents and he's like, God, kind of just want to call my mom like Mom, can you just make his appointment for me? Like I was like, right, like I
yeah,
don't want to
yeah,
make an appointment.
yeah. Yeah, that I can totally believe. Totally believe.
Yeah.
It's a learned skill. None of us wanted to do it, by the way, when we started to. We
Like
all just, eventually you got to put on your big boy or big girl pants and just do it.
fractured my whole foot trying
I can't
to,
tell you.
be Smith save the day on a bug. Like I don't want to do it. Let me call my dad.
Yeah,
Like he might be up.
yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, I'll come over to kill bugs. Why not?
Yeah. It was
They
too
have people
late.
you can hire for that kind of thing.
I know, but it was like 9:30
Hmm,
p.m. Like
that's true.
maybe 10 p.m. And I think even one of the girls they were like, "Call your dad." I was like, "I could, but I'm not going to abuse that treat.
Yeah,
Like he's probably just going to tell me to kill it like or if he comes over like I'll just feel really bad like it's just I'm going to try and like do it and then I
yeah.
fracture my foot."
Also, it's here's the thing. It's highly likely that by the time I got there, it would have gone somewhere and you wouldn't be able to find it because
That's
I've
what
had
happened anyway.
I've had where I go into the other room to get the bug killer, and by the time I get back, it's gone to an undisclosed location, and
That's the
then I'm
worst.
just like sitting there like, all right, when am I gonna see it again?
Yeah, I hate when that happens. So, yeah, I think
Yeah.
yeah, that's just that, that's just been something on my mind. But then, I thought about this podcast and talking about it on here, to my people, you. And it also had me like looking up just different facts cuz like I also thought about like I guess how kids kind of I don't want to say like that they grow up faster, but they kind of do. I think like from just social media and stuff. So like it's
Hmm.
kind of crazy cuz like I think of songs that for example we were listening to when I was in elementary school. And like literally when I was in first grade and we were living down here and I think of songs that I remember hearing on the radio around that time and obviously like now listening back to them I'm like oh wow that was inappropriate like that what's the song it wasn't me I think it was by Shaggy
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
and I'm like listening to the lyrics as a grown up like wow I thought the whole time when I was younger he was talking about like knocking on a bathroom door but he wasn't talking about that at all.
No, nope, nope. That's
Oh, okay.
one of the one of the first songs that I think I helped Brandon learn on guitar was a Van Halen song called Black and Blue.
Mhm.
And if you ever listen to the lyrics of the song, it's kind of a dirty song, but Brandon at the time was just like, yeah, that's a really cool guitar riff. I like that song. And he said something to me years later about Dad, you taught me that song on guitar. You helped me learn that song on guitar, and that was an inappropriate song. Yeah, well,
You're like,
I wasn't teaching you the lyrics.
yeah, right. I wasn't making us sing it in karaoke together.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like that stuff, it's kind of funny though too, because like back in the day, with most songs, I
Mhm.
mean that the Shaggy song aside, right? Like songs that were really kind of inappropriate, you wouldn't really hear on the radio so much. They wouldn't like really allow them to be played on the radio. And now they still probably don't let some of that go on the radio, right? But who's listening to the radio for music? People are listening to it on,
Their own, yeah.
Spotify and
Apple and
iHeart
yeah.
and yeah, all that stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, so it's a lot more, challenging, I think, for parents today to, kind of prevent people, or the people, just people in general, no, their kids from
People.
like being exposed to things that maybe they're not quite, But then again, going back to what you said, if they're young enough, they also aren't. They might hear the lyrics, they might even sing the lyrics, and they have no idea what it means.
I mean,
Or
like,
like me, maybe they're singing the wrong lyrics,
yeah,
because
like
that
I
was
think
me.
they still have like this innocence that it's like, okay, I was singing those songs, but I didn't know what they meant, and no one was
Right.
sitting there like, hey, you know what you're singing, Alyssa? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know what it
Yeah.
meant. I was just
Yeah.
jamming to the song, like I
Yeah.
just was
Exactly.
rocking to the beat, and
Right.
um,
Right.
but like kids
Because
now,
most songs, especially, sorry,
no, go ahead.
most songs, like especially catchy songs, we
Yeah,
the lyrics are inconsequential. Now, maybe some
hmm,
songs that's not true, like ballads and that kind of thing.
yeah,
But most songs, the lyrics aren't what you're there for.
they've been hidden innuendos anyway.
Right.
It's like the cartoons, some of the cartoons, like back in the day,
Yeah.
like they always added little like blips in there for the parents.
Oh yeah. 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 Fairly Odd Parents. There were definitely a lot of
Yeah.
jokes,
Uh
or even
huh.
Rugrats. There were a lot of jokes on Rugrats that the kids didn't understand at all, but the parents were
It
like,
was
"Ha,
for the
that was funny."
parents. Yeah, it was for the
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
So then I started, because, well, and like with social media, anyways, too, like they are exposed to a lot more. Like, I know they're not supposed to be watching them, but like to an extent, sometimes it's a little inevitable. Like scrolling on TikTok, watching a YouTube short, like, it happens.
Yeah.
Okay, it
Yep.
happens. Unless you completely just remove it, but it happens. And, they are exposed to more. I mean, it's exposed even like when it comes to Google. You know what I mean? They just have like more access to that kind of stuff than like my
Hmm.
generation and especially your generation had.
Yeah.
No offense. But it reminded me of like that show from way back in the day, which I think it still goes on now, but I think it's like as they're grown up. I don't like Teen Mom.
Oh, right.
And um that was like such an interesting show when I was younger. Like that was the show. And it had me looking up like statistics because I don't know, maybe it's just cuz like I'm older now and I don't see that stuff. But it had me thinking like, you don't really like hear too much or see too much about like teen moms anymore. Because I'm
Hmm.
sure maybe it's just not in my algorithm, but I feel like it would definitely be like a bigger thing on social media, like a whole niche. And maybe it is. Again, just not in my algorithm.
Yeah.
But now it will be. Isn't that right,
Yeah.
iPhone?
Yeah, that's right.
But
Next time you go on TikTok, that's all you're gonna see.
right. But I looked up the stats on like teen pregnancies now, and it actually says that there's a huge long-term decline in them. And it says the early 1990s was when it was peaking, and about 60 to 62 births per 1,000 teen girls, which is kind of a lot.
Yeah.
And then it said by 2023, there were only around 13 per 1,000 teen girls,
So that's like half as many, basically.
roughly a 75 to 80%
Oh,
drop since 1991.
wow. That's great. And my math is terrible. That's good.
Isn't
That's good. And I
that
mean, it's
crazy?
good because, right, like, when you put yourself in that situation, it impacts everything else, your ability, if for the most part. I mean, statistically, I'm sure there are many cases where somebody goes through that and they are still able to go on to college and get a good job and all that.
Mhm.
But as a kind of general rule, it puts you in a position where things are a lot tougher. So even,
For
yes,
sure.
you can get to that point, but you've got a lot more to deal with to
Yeah.
get to that point. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good thing that's not happening, because it's going to mean that people's lives are going to be a little bit easier. So that's good.
Yeah, because
That's very good.
I think I only knew like maybe two girls that got pregnant in high school. But that
I don't
wasn't like
know.
even really a thing when I was in high school, like that
Trying to
you were
remember if when
seeing.
I was in high school, if there was anybody that was in that circumstance. I don't know if there was. There might have been one girl or couple, because there's two couples I can think of that one of them
Mhm.
might have been in that situation, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that I remember anybody
But I
having
also
that. Of
think
course, I
like
did go to Catholic school until I was in ninth grade, so
true.
you know.
That would have been real scandalous. But like,
Oh,
I have heard stories about like sometimes in like some just crazy middle school stories.
hmm,
Like that some of the kids in middle school, are very crazy. But I
yeah,
also think like there's a lot more resources out there now and knowledge and you
yeah.
know,
I think
more
I also
ingredients in the
feel
food that are stopping that, but
yeah,
we won't get in we'll
that
get
could
into
be it
that
too.
another day,
Yeah, I didn't think
That'll
of
be
that.
that'll
Wow.
be a different episode.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic.
Whole other topic.
No, I also tend to think with especially with the way things are with social media and that I feel like, and maybe this is just my perception as someone who's not in that age group, but I feel
Hmm.
like young people today, young people being, middle school or high schoolers aren't really getting in like those kind of relationships like they did with your generation or my generation when they were when they're that age. You know what I mean? I feel like
Hmm.
there's less of that that goes on now. I could be completely wrong, but so I think of people I know with like kids in that age group and they're just kind of not, they're just kind of doing their own thing.
That's what that this does say. It says like one of the things that's causing the decline is better birth control use, but it also says like less teens just like really doing anything with each other,
Right.
and also like
They're
more
all they're
education and
just
awareness. They're all
yeah,
just online.
they're just interacting online, which is the safest way to interact when it comes to teen pregnancies.
Too many of their parents work from home. Good luck
Yeah,
getting in this house.
yeah, that's true too. Also very true.
And a lot of people too, like, you know what I also think it is? Oh, my microphone is falling off the table. Okay, you know what I also think it is too? Is that a lot of kids nowadays, like, I remember when I was in high school and, or like, yeah, when I was in high school or even like now when I talk to kids like from back then, like who talk about times back then. Like, a lot of kids were able to like first of all both of their parents were just like never home like
Mhm.
there's one like they know that their parents aren't going to be home when they get home from school, and a lot of like people didn't have cameras back then or like any
Ah,
home
true.
security or anything like at all,
Right.
so it was very easy for kids back in the day to just sneak someone on in
Or sneak themselves out even,
or
go
sneak
out when they're
themselves
not
out.
supposed to be going anywhere. Yeah.
Or yeah, so like, you know, now I think everybody has like so many people have at least a doorbell
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
minimum
like
have a doorbell camera.
and they probably have some sort of like Life 360 or Find My on their kids' phones. So it's
Oh,
like
right.
the minute they leave the house, they're like, "Where are you going?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be doing homework. Where are you going?"
Like
So yeah,
that
there's a
kid's
lot
not
more.
there's a lot
Yeah.
more preventing all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like
True. Yeah, that's very
um
true.
yeah, like a lot of kids back in the day. I will say, like, I growing up was for sure way too scared to like ever sneak out because I always
Yeah.
thought, like, you know, eh, maybe there were points where, like, yes, I would try and like sneak around you guys in terms of like when I would leave or whatever. But even then, I was never doing anything like bad. Like I was never going to like rager parties and never telling you or anything like that. Like it was never anything like that.
Right.
And I remember like it didn't matter how bad I wanted to like go somewhere. Like people I knew were out somewhere having fun, and I was like, well, I'm too scared to ask if I can like go out because like I know like everyone is gonna want to stay out late, and I won't be able to stay out super late like that. So I'm just not gonna go. And I'm
Yeah.
definitely not gonna sneak out because like my fear always when it came to like potential like sneaking out like in my mind, I guess it wasn't even really much of a thought ever, because it was always like, I'm not sneaking out, because if I get caught, it's over for me. It's
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
for me. Like,
You should ask your Grammy sometime about
I'm gonna see what heaven looks like if I sneak out. Like, not ready
yeah.
for that yet.
Yeah, you should ask your Grammy sometime about maybe how your mom was when it came to that kind of thing.
I
Just
should.
I'm not revealing anything, but
Man,
you
should
know,
we get her on the pod? Call her in.
that would be hilarious. No. No, we're
We
not
would
going to do
have
that.
to definitely pre-screen.
Yeah, that's that's true. And we'd have to have the dump button, you know how when people
Hmm.
on like radio say things that they
Oh
shouldn't, they
yeah,
have to like
yeah,
I'd
yeah,
have to heavily edit the episode. I
yeah.
feel. No,
Right.
I'm kidding.
Not enough
I'm
time in
kidding.
the night for that. No.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, I'll have to. Cause I just never was I was never a sneak outer. I was never even entertained by that. It was just never.
Mm,
People would tell me that they snuck out, and I remember just being like, "You're not scared about getting caught? Like,
yeah.
what if you're like not home? What if something happens to you? What if like?" And
Yeah,
I don't
it
feel like I was goody two shoe, but
right.
like I also was just like,
No, you and I had
listen.
some conversations when you were younger. We had some conversations.
And I always talk, so like even, in the beginning of the episode when I was talking about like like talking to kids versus like just full on yelling at them for just, cuz they're bad, and then moving on and crashing out and all that stuff, like
Yeah,
to
yeah.
me that's just not, I just don't feel like it's a productive way to like speak to anyone. And I also
Hmm.
feel like, children are the future. So I think like how you talk to them, and also just honestly like your reactions yourself. Like if you are somebody that just reacts very angrily, and like, something bothers you and you are throwing things or slamming doors and like just acting crazy, you know, they are going to think that that's how you deal with
Oh,
things,
yeah.
and to an extent mimic it. And I
Yep.
think the same goes with like how you handle situations when you talk to kids, like,
Yeah.
or just anyone. Like if they're doing something bad, I think
Yeah, I
one
think
thing
that's true. I think
I
that's
always
true.
talk about it with you, like, um it says trying to reconnect. Okay. One thing I always talk about like with you and how you parented was, I'm always like, oh yeah, my dad was like, just he always talked to me. He had like little life lessons talking about snowball effects and stuff with me, like, consequences and actions and all this stuff. And I always say like that always was way better and got through to me long term, way more than just like, you know, if he came up to my room screaming at me like, okay, I did bad, like,
Yeah. We
sorry,
kind of did
now I'm just
the
upset.
good cop bad. Yeah, we kind of did the good cop bad cop thing, and I got to be good cop. So good cop's more fun. Well, no, bad cop's kind of fun actually. Bad cop's more fun.
Now, like, I also understand like sometimes when it's a situation where like, okay, I've told you this 3 times.
Well,
Now my patients are running thin, and now it's about to, like, I was on the, it's funny because I was like joking with them last night. I was on the phone with Ira, and I was like on the phone with her, but it was like around bedtime as well. So it was like, hey guys, go to sleep. Blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. She just like whatever I was saying and however I was like handling a situation, she's like on the phone while I'm like doing that. And, then I go back in the room and she's like, oh my gosh, Alyssa, like, you're so calm and patient. Like, what a dream. She's like, I would have got my butt whooped. Like, there is no second chance. And I was like, yeah, I mean, like, maybe if you saw me like having to go in there like a third or fourth time, then it would have been like more like, okay, girl,
yeah,
stop playing games.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I was like, there's no reason to like, I don't know. I just feel that there's never a reason to really like I don't know. I'm not, but at the same time, I will say personality wise, I'm not a short temper person to begin with.
Right.
I really am like go
Yeah.
with the flow.
I think you have to leave yourself room to go up. You know what I'm saying? Like if
Exactly.
you don't leave yourself room to go up, then it's not making impact. Like if you're a
Yeah.
person who's generally calm,
Mhm.
but the child does something that is just like out there, that you have to let them know the seriousness. You need to have that room to go towards crazy, right? So
Right.
that they recognize that, oh, this is really bad. You know what I mean? And I
Mhm.
do think it also depends on the child too, though, because
For
if you have,
sure.
a child who was raised to have some level of respect for authority and some level of discipline and that kind of thing, it's a lot different to deal with than someone who has none of that. And then
Yeah.
you only have that, out of control thing as an option because, the gentle thing, the reasoning thing is not, I don't think it's going to work. I could be wrong, but uh,
Yeah. No, I think like you said though, respect is a big thing too, but that's also where I feel that, you know, you also gain respect by giving respect. So, a lot of times like if I'm coming at you, just like a regular person, like and I'm talking to you like you're a person that did something wrong, but I'm
right.
still coming at you like not being disrespectful or anything. At the same time, you're also teaching them like how to talk to people. That like you don't
Sure.
always have to like cuss somebody out because they did something bad or like react in a crazy way. It kind of gains you this like respect for with them where it's like, okay guys, for real, like we can have a good time. Like I want to have a good time, but it's time to go to bed. It's time to do this.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, exactly.
clean
Well,
up
and
and then we can
that's the
go do
thing
something
too, though,
fun,
is
like type of thing.
yeah, that's the thing too, though, is when it's the first time that you're telling somebody something,
Mhm.
it's also different than when it's the fourth time you're telling them something. Because then the first three times, maybe you're being respectful and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, guys, we got to do this now. It's not, we're not playing games. We got to do this. That fourth time is where the being respectful flips, right? Because at that point, you've been respectful to the child three
Mhm.
times and they've disrespected you three times. So, you know, respect, it really is, it's a circular argument, right? Because if I'm being respectful to you and treating you, like a human being and a little adult, right? Um, and you continually are being disrespectful back, well, then I've tried to do it that way and give you that lesson and it hasn't worked. So now we got to go a different way.
Right. That's when I'm walking up in there like, all right, 7 o'clock bedtime to watch tomorrow. Watch me.
Yep. 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 Exactly. Exactly.
Oh.
Exactly. That's it. That's it. Like that. Cause that is the biggest thing is, the parents who are always like threatening their kid with something that they never have done to them and never do to them.
Mhm.
At some point they learn that that threat is empty. Like,
Yeah.
I swear, if you don't do this, you're not going to get, any dessert tonight. And every night they still get dessert, even though they didn't do their homework or whatever.
Mhm.
At some point the kid goes, yeah, okay. You know,
Yeah.
so you also have to, it's kind of a different level of the respect thing is, make them respect the fact that you mean what you say. Because if
Mhm.
you don't, that's also where, problems come in.
Amen. Amen, Dad. But yeah, so that's our, actually, everybody, you're welcome for this free parenting
Yeah.
class.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta pay people for that. And
That's
here at the
right.
A&M podcast, we hand out free knowledge every
That's
week.
right. Yep, that's right. And just another piece of like little free knowledge
Oh yeah.
that most people don't know. You use the term algorithm, and something a lot of people don't know when you're talking about the internet, because Al Gore invented the internet. That's where that comes from. Al Gore rhythm. It was his rhythm that they used to design what you would see.
I'm
Most
annoyed
people
because
don't know that.
I actually thought you
Yeah.
were telling like some actual fact, and then I realized it was
Oh, that's
satire.
yeah. Well, sorry. Sorry, I just, when you said that word, that popped into my head and it couldn't stay in any longer. So
So you've been thinking
now,
about it since the beginning of the episode when I mentioned the
yeah,
algorithm?
somewhere in the middle. Yeah, yeah,
That
it's
was
been in there.
really
Now
crazy.
I regret allowing it to come out. So I
If I was doing the
apologize.
editing, y'all, it's okay. I would edit that out,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
don't
no,
really actually hold any weight here. I'm just the online personality. That's what I was
yeah.
laughing with Ira about yesterday. I was like, I don't even have TikTok on my phone anymore because of like my job. I don't know, I guess
Oh yeah,
TikTok's not safe.
yeah,
So I can't have it on my phone and have my work on my phone at the same time. I had to pick one
right.
and I chose my job.
That's a very adult thing to choose work over TikTok. That's very
Yeah.
good. Proud of you.
I still have Instagram, so it does get kind of boring sometimes at night, but then I'm just like, well, I guess I'll just go to bed. So,
There you
um,
go. Getting more
yeah.
sleep. Also very, wow.
Wow, growth. See, guys, if you listen to our advice, you can grow up and be like me.
That's right. This is my work
This
right
this
here.
is your future. Okay? So, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I do what I
All right.
can.
Well, we're gonna have. I think we're gonna have a good one for True Crime Thursday.
Yeah.
It's something that there was some recent news about that I just heard about today, and I was like, oh,
Same.
let's talk about that. So, stay tuned.
Stay tuned. See you in a couple days, guys. Peace out.
Bye bye.